Hi, my name is Robert Garza from Select Products. We already met. What I'm going to show you today is how to make a door panel out of fiberglass in one day using the latest in technology. I'm going to show you guys how to wrap it with heat form vinyl so it won't have any flaws, no tear marks, no ripples. It'll be perfect. Depending on the vehicle that you're working on, the door panel has a certain shape to it. And like you saw with the truck with the factory door panel, it had a certain shape to it. And let's say you wanted to add like an 8-inch to the door with a 6-inch and a tweeter or something like that. Well, the first thing you're going to have to start with is obviously a blank piece of wood. And what you want to do is first make the template, and you've all done this before, where you either take a piece of cardboard and put it on the door, cut it with scissors so it's the perfect shape, and then lay that on your piece and cut it out with a jigsaw, okay? What you probably noticed by working with a jigsaw is that you get all these rough edges that take you hours and hours to sand out. How many of you guys have router tables in your shops? 1, 2, 3, 4? Good. Well, we're going to start carrying them very shortly, so the other stores that don't have them will be an easy source to get one. We're going to either give you a set of plans to make one out of wood like we have here with a router underneath it, or we're actually going to sell the Porter cable piece that you can put inside a table, which will be also very easy to build. We're talking about the very rear piece of the door panel. A lot of you guys are using jigsaws, but what you might want to do is try using your router table, okay, and using different radiuses. Okay, and what you can do is you can use these radiuses, these large radiuses, and you can place these on the piece of wood in certain spots, okay. Let's grab one of these. And just by tracing around these radiuses, you can staple this down and run this around the router table and get a real nice smooth surface without having to do any sanding at all. That's how I made this piece here. Basically, I just took a couple of radiuses, and this is not for any particular vehicle, but I wanted it to be extreme enough so you would look at it and say, you know, that's going to be a real pain to wrap with vinyl. Okay, so this is the shape that I came up with, and what I've done is I did an 8-inch, a 6-inch, and a tweeter. And what we're going to do is make a couple of these templates so we have, you know, the left door and the right door. This piece here, I've already cut out of the router table. What I'm going to do now is just staple this to the other blank and make another one so we have the left and the right. You can use a 5-inch staple and a 1/2-inch material. It'll just go in 1/8 of an inch so you can put it together real easy and take it right apart real easy. Okay, it's going to get a little dusty in here. Hope you guys don't mind, I'm sure you're used to it. But I do have a vacuum that's awfully loud that will suck up most of it. Okay, what I'm using here is our flush trim bit. We sell a bunch of different router bits. This is the flush trim, which you can obviously trace any kind of pattern, any kind of shape, whatever you want. We also have the roundover bit, the 45-degree bit, and we sell a whole bunch of different rabbiting bits. And we're going to use all of these today. I'll show you what they do. And all depending on the application, all depending on the shape that you're working on, you'll choose whatever bit's going to give you the best benefit. Okay. So, I'll be back with you in a minute. As you can see, I stopped just short of finishing the circle. You guys know why I did that? Anybody experienced that before? Yeah, this thing will shoot all around. It'll ruin the piece you're working on, might hit you in the head. So you always want to stop. I usually stop about 1/4 of an inch before, break it off, and then just finish it off. It's going to save you a lot of time and a lot of pain. Okay. So now that we have our two pieces, we can do one of two things at this point. We can make another one so that we can just hang this one up on the wall, and we always have it, we write on there, you know, 98 Chevrolet truck or whatever. These are our speaker rings. Like I was telling you before, we sell these in a bunch of different sizes. This is our 2-inch. We make a 4-inch, 5-inch, 6.5, 8, 10, and 12. So what you can do with these is you can make your door panels in very little time by just modding these, all depending on the system that you're doing. We can rabbet them out so the speaker countersinks in them. You can round the corners or 45-degree the corners, all depending on what you want to look, what you want it to look like. So we have an 8. We got our 6.5 and our tweeter. Okay. What we want to do with these before going any further is countersink the drivers. Most drivers are about 1/4 of an inch on the 6.5s, 6.5s on down. 8-inch to 12-inch, they can get a little wider in the shoulder, a little deeper. So you really need to check whatever spec on the speaker. You measure the speaker before you do the rabbeting. Okay, what I'm going to do is measure our depth here with the cutting edge. What we're going to do here, let's see here, I think a 3/8 should do us. All of our speaker rings are 5/8, so you have plenty of room to cut into them and modify them so they're exactly what you want. Okay. This might get a little dusty. So we have our rabbet for the countersink of the speaker, our 8-inch and our 6.5. Really don't need to countersink a tweeter unless you really wanted to. We could put a little 1/4-inch countersink on there, but the speaker I'm going to use for that today doesn't require it, so we'll be all set with that. One thing I didn't go over is our rabbet bits have different depths on them. I used a 1/2 inch for this one, so that'll give you a real nice collar. All depending on the speaker you're using, you want to measure the frame of the speaker so you have enough depth on it. And we have everything from 3/8 all the way up to 3/4 inch if you're going to do like a pro woofer. And that'll do that for you. Okay. One other thing I want to do, which I think is a nice touch, is round the corners, the top edge of the corners. So when you put the fabric on it, when you put the resin and the mat on there, it has a real nice curve to it as opposed to just having a sharp edge sticking out. It flows nicer, it looks nice and rounded. I want to pass those around real quick because I need them back to continue, but I want you to just take a quick look at them. There are probably 3 different grades of tools in general in our world. Okay, you have the import, very inexpensive product. You have the consumer grade, and then you have the commercial grade. Okay, we sell all of our router bits, our saw blades, all the tools that we'll sell to you guys are commercial grade. They're made for mass production. Because why go spend 20 bucks on a bit that you have to replace in a few days? You know, you might spend 25 or 30 bucks. It'll cost you an extra 5 or 10 bucks to get a bit that's going to last you half a year. So all the stuff that we use is all commercial grade. When I had originally made the base template, okay, I stapled these rings on before we machined them. And when I cut the holes out, I cut the holes so they're perfect. So you know exactly where the 8-inch goes, exactly where the 6.5 goes. The only one that's a little questionable is the tweeter, but we can fix that by using a ruler. And what you want to have is you want to have a bunch of pieces of wood cut. I'm sure some of you have done this before with grill cloth. One of the guys had told me to use grill cloth. But you can get a bunch of cuts of MDF. And all depending on the vehicle, all depending on where the seat is or where you're sitting in the vehicle, you can pitch the speakers in any direction. You know, and get real crazy and point it right up at the guy or something. Imagine this is a left door. Or you can point it across to the driver or whatever. You can position the speaker any way you want. I mean, that's the whole reason we're doing this. Is the whole reason the customer is spending all this money. Is the whole reason you're spending an entire day to build something like this. Is we want to make it sound totally awesome. The pitch that we're going to do for this one is I was going to pitch the 8-inch up, and we'll pitch the 6.5 towards the driver as well as the tweeter. Got 3 sets there. Okay. These 2 are, as you can tell, those 2 are matching. I'm going to use those for the tweeter and the 6 so they're on the same pitch. Okay. It's always been my impression and my knowledge that you want to keep the tweeter in the mid-range as close as you can together, have them on the same pitch. Aiming the direction you want them to go. So what we're going to do with these is we're going to take the large one, put it in the back, small one in the front. Same with these 2. Now what I'm doing is I'm putting them, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm putting them right on the edge of the circle so that when we glue that right in place, we know right where it goes. And left and right speaker will match. You can look down from the top and make sure that it's straight on the circle this way. And then on the 8-inch, I'm not using quite as tall of a spacer, but we're just going to pitch that one up. So once we glue it into position, and you can glue these a couple different ways. You can either use wood glue and wait many hours, or you can use hot glue. That's what I like to use, especially with our yellow hot glue. This stuff is very, very strong. What this glue is and how I had found it is I was an installer for many years, as you guys have been, and you ever wonder what that yellow glue is inside the factory door that you cannot get off? There it is. Okay. It took some searching. I had to find out who was making it for the car manufacturers, and we found it, and this stuff is awesome. So I'm going to glue these in place real quick. Any questions while I do this? Gonna put a little glue in here. Come on, Nelly. And as far as dripping glue on the mold, it really doesn't matter.
So will those actually, that'll give you your angle, but that won't actually be your support.
Ah, my friend, we are getting there, my friend. Be patient with me. I will do my best to impress you guys. Confucius say many confusing things, right? And you can, I mean, I'm doing this really fast for you guys, but I would always recommend that you know, take out your ruler, draw some lines on it so everything's going in the right directions. Everything, you know, both of them are identical. But I want to go kind of fast, keep you guys interested. And so what we have here is the skeleton of a pretty cool looking door panel. And you guys cheated and saw the fiberglass version of that, but we're going to wrap it anyway. Okay, and you know, that'll look pretty cool.
Yeah.
Have any of you guys used this product before? Only one? What do you think about it?
That's the bomb. Right?
It's the bomb. Okay.
I used to use grill cloth instead of that.
So did I. Okay, I used to use that very thin grill cloth, and I used to put door panels together. Oh yeah, and you're painting it, and then you're doing, you know, popping a radio over here and come back, paint it again, and it never really gets strong enough though, no matter how many layers of resin you put on it.
When you stretch real hard and put your finger through it.
Right. What's cool about this product is it's 100% polyester. Okay, resin is polyester-based resin. And what you do with polyester, especially if one's a resin, think of it kind of a hot melt glue. What it's doing is it's melting this fabric and turning it into a plastic mold. So what you're going to end up with is a plastic mold. Okay? So I'm going to staple this together for you real quick.
What's the model on that fabric? That's like
The model number?
mold fabric.
It's FG mold, as in moldy. Guys have a good staple gun?
Well, like T50.
Well, what this gun will do that no other gun you can buy anywhere is it will shoot 1/8 inch tall staples
You can't find.
that you can't find anywhere else. I kind of like it that way. 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch. So it'll shoot those three sizes for all this type of work. If you're going to be shooting into masonite, you need 1/8 inch.
But can you use the ones like the T50? No. T50 stapler? No. Work in that.
No, no. This is a gun that's it's actually made in Germany, and it took me some searching to find. But it's all cast aluminum, has a real nice rubber handle, and if you like, I'll let you guys play around with it later. What I've done is I've cut a piece of mold fabric that is about 4 inches larger all the way around the piece that we're going to cover. What we want to do is staple the inside of the speaker holes first. Okay? Don't be too concerned about the little ripples that we got right here, because once we get to that point, we'll just pull those out. Okay? So here we go. And what I want to do is have an angle right into the corner, just like this on the speaker ring.
See, those staples are smaller than the other T50 stuff, it splits it.
I'll tell you why I'm doing it. What I'm doing is I'm putting the staples on the inside right next to each other, one right after the other, because what we're going to do once I'm done is we're going to cut out the center piece here. Okay, and if they're not right next to each other and they're not really secure, the fabric's just going to pull loose and you're going to have like a little bubble there. So you want them right next to each other. Good question. You can do whatever you want with this cloth. Just think of it as a canvas, and you can shape it in any shape you want, and then coat it with resin, and it's going to be plastic. And this, I came up with a difficult shape. You know, I hope you guys can appreciate this. It took me a week to prepare for today, but I came up with a real difficult shape that I would think even the most seasoned installer would look at and say, man, that's going to be tough to cover in vinyl. So I pulled for the center here. Now I want to flip it over, pull the other center. And I'll pass this around so you can see how taut the material is, but it's not that tight, but it's tight enough.
You had to do grill cloth. You had to get
Grill cloth, you had to have your buddy pulling you, right? Yeah.
It sag when you put the resin on.
No matter how tight you got it, you clean that shit down, it sag.
And getting back to the glue, as you can see, we're going to be pulling on this pretty good, so we want it to be nice and strong.
I always mix bond and resin together.
I'm going to try to do this like this, so you guys can see.
Mix the bond and the resin together.
I'm actually working on a prototype. If we have time, I'll show you.
All right.
I have a prototype resin that doesn't require any hardener. And
That's all right.
doesn't catalyze until you tell it to.
Yeah, what does it take for it to catalyze?
15 minutes.
Does the weather have anything big to do with it?
Sir?
Does the weather affect it drastically?
In its prototype stage it will, but I'm hoping to repair that. Final product, weather won't depend on it at all.
Because I mean, right now, weather obviously is a big factor.
Yes,
glass.
humidity. Humidity is a big factor in glass, and since it's nice and cool down here, we're lucky enough to get glass to harden. very quickly.
You've switched staples to a larger staple now?
Same size staple. I'm using 1/4 inch for the whole thing. 1/4 inch you'll probably use the most. Since we're using the 1/2 inch MDF, we'll be all right. What do you think?
Sweet.
Yeah? You guys want to take a look at it real quick? So what we want to do now is trim off all this excess. Just on the other side of the staple is what you want to do.
Yeah, that's the
The color of the fabric is on purpose. I don't know if someone was making that comment, but the reason the fabric is so light is so when we soak it with resin, it turns color. So you know you have it completely soaked through. It's very important. You don't want a big air pocket that's going to crack on you when someone puts their knee or leg against the door panel. So there, it's ready to go. All we have to do now is soak it with resin. Everyone used resin before?
Mm-hmm.
All of you? Oh, that's a first. How do you guys mix resin? How do you go about it? Huh? Drips? Drops? You go by the drops? Don't do that anymore. Okay? Get one of these.
Put it into a tie.
Okay? Put it in till it's hot and then paint it on? Okay? I'm telling you guys, they all need one of these. You gotta have it. Okay? Totally. Never goes bad unless someone drives it over with a car. It's an MEK, huh? FG MEK. It's an MEK dispenser. Okay? It'll hold a pint, I believe, inside. And it gives you cc's up here. When you're measuring milliliters, let's say we're going to measure 500 milliliters, 1% of 500 milliliters is 5 cc's. Resin needs only 1% to catalyze, 1.5%, 2% if you really want to go hot. So I'm going to mix this up 500 milliliters, because I think that'll be plenty for this mold. Let's see here. Do you guys get your resin from us? Or where do you usually buy your resin?
Our guys are scared of fiberglass. We have none of that stuff.
Okay.
I have some that I get.
The quality of resin is very important. Some of you guys that have worked with it for a lot longer know that sometimes the molds won't harden or won't catalyze. Fiberglass is only good for 90 days. Okay, when you buy it from us, it'll come with a date on it. This one's for you guys, so I just poured it fresh out of the drum. But ours will come with a date on it. It'll be handwritten on there. It's like a Budweiser born on date. Okay, after 90 days, it's no good. Okay, the stuff that you buy in the big hardware stores, you never know how old it is. Okay, also the color of it. If it's green, that's what they call a general purpose resin. A general purpose resin is leftovers. It's kind of like a big trash compactor. Every time they make a batch of resin, they have a couple gallons left over, they throw it into the trash compactor. Well, the green resin is trash. It's not really guaranteed to do anything. When we use a high strength polyester resin, it'll be red. Okay, so that's very important. We sell it for about the same cost as you can buy it in the store, so it makes sense to get it from us, or at least get it from a source that you can get a real good quality resin. Okay, so we have 500 milliliters, 1% is 5 cc's. I'm going to go 1.5% because I like it a little hot. We're not going to quite go 2%. So all I did was squeeze the bottle, brought it up to the cc's that I wanted, pour it in. Take our old screwdriver. I like kind of use old screwdrivers. I'm sure you guys use old screwdrivers or backup straps or whatever. Mix it up good, real good, and we'll get a color change when it's thoroughly mixed. It'll turn kind of a more clear, just a different orangey red color instead of the red that it was. You'll definitely be able to see the color change go on. You want to be very liberal. Yeah, not very liberal. If that's the word, I'm not really sure. You want to soak this material thoroughly. So, all depending on how much you want to waste, you can go at it. And by just putting an initial coat on it and keep moving, it will soak in, and you'll come across it a second time, and it'll go much faster. So kind of hit it with one coat, and as you can see where I've already put it on, it's turning a darker color because it's soaking in to the other side. And then we'll come around a second time. As you can see on my second pass, it's getting darker, filling in all those air holes. Making sure that we get resin all along this edge here is very important. Also, all the edges are very important because what the resin is going to do is it's going to soak through into the wood and attach itself to the wood because the staples aren't going to hold it together. They're just kind of there as a fastener, kind of like the hot glue was. The resin is going to be all the strength. So we're going to hit this one more time because we want to make sure that we get soaked through. Now it won't always get the inside, when we look at the inside, it won't always be completely soaked on the inside, but that's okay. It's still going to be about 1/4 of an inch thick of resin. So now we're going to be liberal with it here. Make sure it's real good and coated. Okay, I think that's done. I'm going to get rid of this, and I have one that's already catalyzed. What we would do at this point is we would take our belt sander and come around and take some of this off. I'm going to do a little bit of it, but I know you guys all know how to do that, right? I just want to show you what it's going to look like. I just wanted to do a little piece, show you guys what it'll look like. Once the resin is hard, as you can see, we're still going to have some high spots in it. Okay? Now, just like resin, it will sand just like resin. And what we want to do, this is a very important step, is get rid of some possible fibers that are sticking up or some possible imperfections, the real tall ones we just want to get rid of. So we're going to hit it just real quick. I use 100 usually, just to hit it real quick so we get rid of all those tall fibers. As you can see, there are a lot of valleys, more so when we used to do it with grill cloth. This product has its advantages and disadvantages. Okay, I've seen lots of guys sand this totally smooth before we came up with our new product. Okay, and it can be done. You can sand this totally smooth. Yeah, long time. Well, time is our money killer. Okay, this is spray-on Bondo. We call it spray polyfill. What this will do for you is instead of using the paste and pasting it on and getting a bunch of different or uneven thicknesses across the piece, you can spray this on like paint or like a damping material. And it'll spray on real nice and even, and you can sand it off just like Bondo. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spray it, and it takes about a half an hour. It catalyzes. It uses the same hardener as resin, okay? And it catalyzes in about a half an hour. So we'll spray it, then we'll have some lunch, and we'll come back, sand it, and go from there. Our guns here are really nice. I don't know if you guys have seen them before, but they're made out of cast steel. Okay, I built this gun after many years of customers coming up to me and asking me for a spray gun. But you know, I can go down to the hardware store just like you can and buy one for $50. But as soon as you drop it, it breaks.
We've got the inline regulators also.
Inline regulator. Okay, it's got an adjustable spray pattern here as far as the diameter. Okay, you can even go fan top or bottom, but we usually use it in the 45 degree, so it'll give us a circle. Has the adjustable fluid here, and it's made out of 16 gauge cast steel. I mean, I could throw this across the street, pick it up and use it. I can drive the truck over it and pick it up and use it. We had the casting made for us, for this industry. It's the only gun like it on the market. When you guys get this product, all depending on how long you sit it on the shelf before you use it, it will look purple. You turn it upside down. Actually, if you can turn it upside down every week, regardless if it's upside down side, whatever, flip it every week, okay? Because think of it as Bondo, it's sediment, it's clay, basically, okay? And if the color is purple, it's because it's all of the thinner in it to keep to spray the clay, and it'll just settle into the bottom. So you need to stir it up, shake it up, but if you flip it once a week, like Chris was saying, it's the best thing. I think it even says that right on the can.
Mixture rate on that is same as the.
It takes a little more catalyst, 2 to 4%. I'm going to do 2.5% on the catalyst, which will be 500 milliliters, 15, right? 15 cc's of catalyst. It's a lot, catalyst. All right. Actually, if you don't want to use too much catalyst with this product, it's very important that you never go over like 3.5%, 4%, because it'll just turn into rubber. It won't even harden. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lay on a real thin coat and let it flash, okay? And you'll be able to see it from wet to dry, okay? As soon as it dries on the first coat, then we hit it with the second coat, okay? So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to let that flash, and then we'll hit it again. You want to spray it on till it falls right off. Okay, that's why I raised it up. A lot of professional painters use that tactic. They just paint the car until it just falls right off, and they have this real nice smooth layer of paint on the car. Well, you want to use that same principle so that you just have this big coating of spray-on filler or Bondo type material on the mold. And that's ready. Half an hour, it'll be ready to sand. If you can catch it right at the right time, right when it's finishing gel time, you can sand it like Bondo, where it'll come off in large clumps. We'll take 40 grit. We'll take 40 and we'll hit it, not with a lot of pressure, but kind of like using a rasp. And we'll hit it real quick just to get a nice shape. And then we'll go from 40, we'll go to 100. Okay? And then we'll do 220, and it'll be ready to wrap. Okay, our last process was the spray on of the filler. And you guys saw that I put that on very liberal. Actually, the first coat was a dusting, get it on there, let it flash, let it attach to the resin, and then the second coating, I caked it on pretty heavy, just like Bondo, okay? And right now, by feeling it, you can feel that it's still a little soft. If you press really hard on it, it'll barely take your fingerprint, okay? At this point, I have a piece of 40, which is hard to buy in big squares, but you can buy, they make it for the sanders. You get a piece of 40, and you can just start shaping it and getting all the high spots out of it. Now, you don't want to apply a lot of pressure. All you want to do is get the high spots out of it. Because with something this coarse, you'll burn through it in a hurry. This spray-on filler is awesome. It is designed to not clog sandpaper. So even when we pull out the 220, it won't clog the paper. Okay. Now I broke through it a few spots, but you're going to, so that's not a big deal. Because even though you break through, the material will still stay in their low spots. Okay. I'm only going to do one side because it'll take us from some time. Now what I have is my DA with an 80 grit on it. Okay. Variable speed's always nice, so you don't burn the hell out of the piece. Okay. Although it may not look it, that's nice and smooth because you have the Bondo material inside the valleys of the resin. So it's smooth all the way across. Okay. What we want to do after that is hit it with 220. You want to remember with using a DA, it's never going to give you as good a result as doing it by hand. So what you want to do is do the DA with the coarse, and then once you get into the fine, do it by hand, because the DA will make it roll like this, okay? I have one that's been sanded already. Okay?
In TV town, we're done.
That's right. In TV town, right. So after you do the 40, you do the 80, sometimes 100, and then hit it with a 220. After that, you're going to want to dust it with a primer. I just used an inexpensive light gray primer. Okay, Rust-Oleum's. Okay. I did that so it would fill any of the pinholes. Okay, give us a nice smooth surface. What you would want to do after you primer it is sand it again with like a 220, 300. Hit it again so that the adhesive grabs onto it real good and tight.
Right.
We've got our piece. We've got it all sanded. It's ready to go. It's been primered. It's been resanded after primering it so the adhesive gets a real good adhesion on it. Now what we need to do is cut a piece of vinyl. Just like with the mold fabric, we want about 4 inches of excess all the way around the piece. So lay the piece upside down on the vinyl, fold it over. As you can see, we have plenty of room here. Give us a nice cut. Now the adhesive we're going to use, I'm sure hardly any of you have heard about it. It's pretty rare. It's called heat activated adhesive. What it'll allow you to do is put the vinyl where you want it, apply heat, and then it'll bond. As opposed to what you're used to where you spray on contact cement on the piece you're covering, it with, and you put it on like this, and it's stuck. There it is. Okay, and you pull off, and the adhesive comes with it. You got to start all over, or little gumballs happen, and you got, You got a door panel with zits. It just doesn't look good. This product is unbelievable. And you use it just like contact adhesive. What we're going to do is first spray the vinyl, and then we're going to spray the piece, just like contact cement. This is the product right here. We have two of them actually. You can use them with other grades of vinyl. You can use them with any grade of vinyl as long as you've had enough practice so that when you're heating the vinyl, you don't burn the vinyl. Okay? HF series is a heat formable vinyl. It's designed to be heated. It's the only vinyl on the market that's designed to be heated. I have done it with like the Miami vinyl and the Monte Carlo vinyl, but it takes 1/10 of the heat to do it because if you overheat those vinyls, they'll just burn up. I recommend that you take a small square and you burn the hell out of it so that you know what your limit is.
Yeah, it's hard.
Exactly. I mean, we're gonna heat a piece so hot that it'll be unbelievable. What you want to do with this product is it comes out, as you can see, like molasses. Okay? Now we have two grades of this adhesive. This is the clear or the 6587. It's what I highly recommend. It's the easier of the two to use. There's another one called the 6302 that we also stock. It's yellow, just like the same what you just saw, but it's yellow in color. It's a little higher heat rating and it sticks to plastic better. It works 95% the same way. It has a little more tack to it on the initial contact, and it's a higher heat rating, and it bonds to polymers better, so it bonds to plastics. This one is by far easier to use, by far. The only reason we have the other one is because some places like Arizona, some places of Florida that get really hot, this product will let go. If the interior car temperature gets above like 300 degrees.
So the yellow would be better.
A yellow would be better in a higher heat application, but it's very, very rare. I mean, we sell probably 100 gallons of this to every 10 gallons of the other. Well, you saw how thick that was. Okay, there's no way I'm getting that through my spray gun. This is what you thin it with. Acetone, nothing else, okay?
I sprayed it through my gun.
And as far as the mixture ratio, go on whatever your gun is, go on whatever you're working on. I usually do like 20%. You can do 50-50. It will take a minute to stir up. I'm stirring this and it's still molasses inside. It takes a few minutes for it to separate the adhesive and mix with the acetone. The base of this is acetone, so you're not going to damage the adhesive. It's just going to have a lot more odor spray come off. So it's just going to evaporate, and it's getting better already. And this will not dry up in the can, so you have some time with this. There you go. We're spray grade now. This adhesive is kind of hard to see, so what you want to look for is you want to look for the shine on the vinyl. It'll be easy to see on the gray, but since we're shooting white on white, you're really going to want to look for the shine. Okay. That's as light as you want to put it on. Okay. I had a few strays fly out. You want to get rid of those right away. But you just need a thin coating of it. What's really good about this vinyl, if you can keep it clean, is we could roll this up, stick it in a bag, leave it on the shelf, and it'll be ready for us when we're ready for it. Want to get inside the speaker areas. Very good. That's very important, especially when we're rolling those in. Good. So we're going to turn this on. If you can get a glimpse of the gauge, the display here, it's climbing on its own. But as soon as I start turning it, there's 1150 degrees. We're going to go down to 710, and then it'll tell me where it's at. 780 went a little hot. 800, it'll cool itself down. 790, 780, it'll come back down to where I wanted it at. And you have your air volume control, so you can slow down the air or increase the airflow. For this, you want the air all the way up, the gun on about 700. Or if you have something that's equivalent to that. What's really nice about this gun, as opposed to like the Milwaukees that are on the market, and there's a Wagner, they just give you this real tiny hot spot. It won't give you this nice soft air. You stick your hand out and feel the air come at it. Real nice and soft. It's real broad, so you won't burn the vinyl. What we're gonna do? We're gonna try that. But what we're gonna look for is we're gonna look for the vinyl to get real shiny, and that's when you're getting to the point of no return. And I'm putting this half an inch away from the vinyl at 700 degrees, which is exactly how much how much heat's coming out of it. See it turn shiny right there? I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it's definitely happening here. Yeah, it's peaking up a little bit. Now it's going to start falling. Can you see? Yeah, at 700 degrees is holding up real well. But you can see where it's turning shiny? That's the breaking point. Now if I still hold it there, we may get a little smoke out of it. We'll see. Any day now. It's just lost its texture right there.
I see smoke, though.
You see smoke? There's the smoke. Okay, we smoked it. Look at this.
Yeah.
If this were contact cement and you did this, what would happen? And especially if you pushed on it. Okay, but with this adhesive, you don't have to worry about that. That's right. You'd have to respray it, and plus you'd be sitting there for half an hour pulling all the glue off. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to center the piece, making sure, and I've seen guys do this, and they come up short on one side. Make sure it's center, you know, spend the extra $1 and get 4 inches all the way around, okay? So we got plenty of room all the way around, room for error. Where we want to start is right in the center. Always want to start in the center. Work your way out. You know, mainly for the reason that this table doesn't allow me to have any overhang, really, because this table is all 4 inches all the way around. This will give you something if you have, I'm sure on your shop tables at your places, you can get around here and stretch and pull down where you really need some extra leverage. So here we go. We got 4 inches all the way around. We're going to start in the center and start heating it. What we want to do is we want to get the adhesive and or the vinyl to 150 degrees. That's right where the adhesive will bond. It is sometimes a good idea to get a little pair of cotton gloves to wear, but it might hinder you knowing how hot the adhesive is. See right there, we're getting a little bond right here in the middle. And what you want to do with it is roll with it. We're not stretching right now. We just want to roll with it. Let it just lay down. Let it just lay on the piece. Okay. On the speaker locations, we want to get a little extra room in there. So I'm going to push them down, heat the edge, so that it'll bond and keep the edge there for us right now. What I always recommend you guys do is grab could be a flat piece of wood, doesn't matter. Practice. Even test yourself before you're going to do something like this. You're getting ready to go, you're getting ready to wrap a real nice piece of artwork you got going. Take 5 minutes, grab a piece of scrap wood, spray with the adhesive, grab a piece of scrap vinyl, and do one. Just as a refresher, just so you know, okay, it takes this much heat, okay, it takes that much pressure, it takes that much pull, whatever. It'll save you time and money in the long run. What's also a good idea if you're doing real difficult shapes, like when we get up to the tweeter, it'll be really difficult. Have a nice cold glass of water with a rag in it, and you put that on it, and it'll keep the shape right away. See, I'm taking it a piece at a time, making sure I don't have any air bubbles left into it. If you get an air bubble left in it, it's going to be hard to get out. So you just want to take it piece at a time. It'll pull loose. You can reheat the adhesive probably only about a half an hour. And then after that, it won't reheat at all. So you got about, I mean, once it's, and the only reason you can reheat it is because it's still warm. But once it cools, you can't reheat it. This piece, since we're going to go real aggressive with it, we're going to heat it up real nice so it stretches real nice, but we don't want to overstretch it because you don't want to lose its texture. Takes a little bit of pulling. Okay, that's fine for now, because what we're going to do when we're done with the rest of it is we'll flip it over, spray the adhesive around the back, and then wrap it. It would be a good idea when you're doing something like this to have an assistant, because he can hold the piece for you while you heat it and stretch it. I think I'm going to have an air hole. You see what I did there? I had an air hole right here. I don't know if you can see that. I had an air hole right here, and I just lifted up where the tweeter was and pushed it up into there. This is when you really start pulling. You really. This is where I make my money, right here. I'm pulling on it a little bit because it tells me how hot it is. Because the vinyl will kind of let go and relax a little bit. I'm staying, as you can see, like 2-3 inches away from the material, always keeping the gun moving. Because you can, as you saw, burn a hole in it. There's step one. Your customers will flip. They'll be like, who did that for you? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some adhesive on the back of the mold. I'm going to touch it up all the way around. What I'm going to do here, it's the same thing I did to the front. Just activate the adhesive, pull it around. We only really need about 1 inch or 1/2 of an inch stuck to the back all the way around. And we're going to staple it in place. The adhesive is strong enough that we won't even need the staples until afterwards. But I always recommend it. It's a good idea. Yeah, it's a safety precaution more than anything. And you don't have to go crazy with the staples, but you want some, especially on the corners.
Right.
What you want to do with these creases is you want to pull them and push your thumb on them. and they'll flatten out for you. Okay, just like that. So right here, we could run our staples about a half of an inch in. After we completely wrap the piece, staple it all the way around, then you're going to want to trim off the excess. And trim it close to the staple so you don't have a bunch of bumps keeping the door panel raised off the car. You want it nice and tight. So you want to cut all these off. And then I'll show you what we're going to do. We're going to go back and we can do relief cuts in the leftover bumps, because you're going to have some. You can't stretch a vinyl that violently without having some stress bumps in it. So you can see it looks nice. We have a few of these here. So what you want to do is you can see the relief bump here. We're just going to cut a little triangle. Pull that out, put a staple on it. It lays nice and flat. Okay? You're only going to have a few of those real big ones. Let's start with the tweeter. I'm going to heat that up real nice and hot. Push it in, staple it, and then cut it. Oh yeah, it's hot enough. It is very hot now.
You're almost using the end of the stapler.
Oh yeah, I'm using the end of the stapler to push it down, right? I'm pushing down and against the wood. Have any of you seen one of these before? It's a vinyl tool. And what this will do for you, it has two different radiuses on it. We have a real tight radius here, and we have a very broad radius here. It's on a little curve here, so you can hold on to it and work with it. And what that'll do for you is it'll allow you to press the vinyl in all the way without having to use like a screwdriver or your fingertips, which won't get it strong enough all the way in there. And get it all the way in there and get it in there nice. So I'm heating this up really good, so it goes in like butter. And then what we're going to do is push down and in, just like that, and work our way around them. Actually, I'm going to cut it open a little bit more. This will give it some more relief. You don't want to cut it too close to the edge, of course. And you can roll with it like this. Push it in there and roll it. It won't tear the vinyl because it's smooth and polished. On the second pass, we're going to really go in, make it nice and tight. Yeah, we don't need any staples. No, speaker will hold it in place. And then the grill that fits in there will also hold it in place. Remember, it has the memory, so it'll hold on to its memory. You just got to make sure that you heated it enough. Nice. Got all our edges in. I'm going to pull out the vinyl out of the center using the wood as a guide. Here we are. Got our door panel nice and wrapped with vinyl. I took the liberty of putting the speaker in for you guys. You can have a look at what it looks like with the speaker in. Unfortunately, most factory speakers have a big shoulder on them, like 5/8 of an inch, sometimes 3/4 of an inch shoulder. So it's going to be real tough to use the factory grill. And I even tried making one of these before you guys all came out with the JL factory grill, and it's 5/8 of an inch. And you don't have the mass there. You don't have the room to do something that big. So what you would normally have to do is you have a couple different options, all depending on how you design your door panel. You can just make a round grill, or if you had the door panel designed so you all had one piece grill, you can do those two different scenarios. But what we're going to do is we're going to make a grill for the 6.5. The tweeter has its own grill, so it's an easy pop and go. If I were to ask any of you to make me a plexiglass ring like this, how would you go about doing it? Okay, it'd be very difficult to make it with a jigsaw. You'd be sanding for days, and it'd probably be 1/4 of an inch over here by the time you were done, maybe like 5/8 of an inch over here on this side. It'd be very difficult to make. But that's what's so great about our speaker rings, is you can modify their size very easily. On the inside diameter, the outside diameter, you can change it to where it'll fit right inside the door panel and give you a template to then make your plexiglass piece and also make your grill metal piece. So you put all these together in a sandwich and you have a nice grill. You can even go as far as using a laminate, carbon fiber, okay? Use a wood grain or a wood burl, and we're going to do one of these. So you have the top piece so it matches the car. If you're doing like a Jaguar or a Volvo that has the wood grain dash, you can flow it right into the door. The customer will flip. So we're going to do one. I think we'll do the wood burl. Any objections?
Nope.
Okay. Okay, so what we basically need to do is we need to take our speaker ring and make it fit in that hole. Okay? Just by looking at it, I can tell it's at least 1/4 of an inch too large in diameter on the outside, but we know that on the inside it fits the speaker perfectly because we use the same 6.5 inch speaker ring to make the mold. So what we need to do is we need to shave it. And how we're going to do that is we're going to use a 1/2 inch flush trim bit. And you're saying, okay, a 1/2 inch flush trim bit. Well, if I run it around the flush trim bit, it's not going to do anything because it has a bearing on it. So if you use a 3/8 flush trim bearing with a 1/2 inch cutter, it'll pull off a 1/16 of an inch. So if you pull off a 1/16 of an inch, half of the ring, flip it back over, now you're going to pull off an 1/8 of an inch. Flip it over again. You're just going to keep on going until you have it within a 1/16 of an inch, press fit it right in there. Pretty cool? We're going to do that real quick. Number 2. I'm going for 3, baby. Okay. So I got it set up to about halfway. I think that's it. As they say in Germany, guten tight, right? Now, I only cut half of it, and that's all you really need to cut, because you just need a template. So depending on what you're working on, now you have a double-sided template within a 1/16 of an inch of each other. So you could be working on another job, and oh, that's a little too big, that's perfect. So you save it that way, just like I made this one not too long ago. Okay? Now our next step is we need to make 2 pieces. We need to make a grill. We need to make 3 pieces. We need to make a grill. We need to make a piece of acrylic or whatever you want to use. You can use ABS. You can use wood. You can use whatever. We're going to use acrylic. We're going to use a piece of grill metal, and we're also going to use a piece of ABS laminate. Over here I have a 1/2-inch flush trim already set up. Save a little time. What I have here is a 1/4-inch black acrylic. What we want to do with that is take some spray adhesive and attach the 2 together. And this heat activated adhesive you can use in conjunction with the contact cement. So it doesn't really matter that there's some left in the gun. But I like to shoot acetone through it just to make sure I'm all clear. And here I have our lock weld adhesive, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with. And all we're going to do is use like contact cement. Ooh. There we go.
That's what I always try to get from there.
That little John, that John.
Okay, we want to set our height. Make sure that we just cut the plastic and not the template. With this porter cable router, you just twist the base and it comes up and down. It's beautiful. Okay, right now this looks just like this. Square. Now what we have the option of doing right now is that we can round the corner, put a 45-degree on it before we pull it off the template. Once you pull it off the template, it's kind of difficult. And you have a higher risk of just throwing this thing across the room. So, any opinions? Round it? 45? 45? Do a little 45 action on it. Okay, you want to set your height. This you got to be real careful on because you don't want to ruin the piece you spent all that time building. So set the blade right next to the plastic. Bring it up. I'm going to go a little less than half, and we'll do the inside and the outside, so it'll look really cool when you pull it off to look at it. And the bearing's still going to ride on the wood. Now what we can do at this point, we have a couple options. We can sand it down with 220 and hit it on the buffer, and it'll be perfect. So at this point, just want to take your chisel, and this will separate because the paper is right there. This will separate. That adhesive is good, man. There it goes. I was trying to be careful not to damage the plastic, and just pull it off slowly all the way around, because you don't want to break it. And if if we had buffed this already, it's ready to go. And it fits right in there. Let's pull this off, and I'm going to stick it to the laminate. This is ABS with the pattern on it, with the wood grain pattern. And what we're going to do is make a sandwich. We're going to have the acrylic, the metal, and then the laminate on top. So it'll be like a sandwich. It'll be nice. This is only 1/8 of an inch thick, so we don't need the bit very high. There's our laminate. Has a protective plastic coating on it, so we don't need to actually put it off till everything is done. And that will go there. The last piece is probably the most difficult piece because you really want to take your time, and it is metal, so you want to watch out for flying debris. And it's kind of hard to attach it with contact cement and actually have it look good. So what we use is double-sided gasket tape. And I'm sure you guys have used that before. You want something that's not too thick, but it has a really strong bond. And we sell a product that works real well. I'd say put 4 good-sized pieces on. And don't really worry about them hanging over because the router will take care of that problem. And then take your metal. I showed you the 3 different types of metal that we have. We have the heavy-duty material, that's the large perf. You can do the same procedure with all of our metals. Okay, you just want to take, due care with them. This you could use on, say, the 8-inch if you wanted. It's really good for 8s, 10s, and 12s, especially in pairs. But what we want to do is we want to closely match the tweeter so that it looks very similar. Okay, since we're going to want to do a pair out of these, we're going to push the mold all the way to one side, so then we can just move the mold over and do 2 out of one piece. So what you want to do is use WD-40, which are real nice about WD-40. I spray it in spots. What I do is I'll spray like 3 inches and I'll cut it, spray another 3 inches. So it works out well that way. And since the router is upside down and it's WD-40, it's not going to damage the router. What we'll do is put these pieces together. And glue them all together with our E6000. Have you guys used our E6000 before?
E6000?
E6000. This comes in clear or black. Comes in clear or black. It's great on plastics. It's great on rubbers. Not that type of rubbers. So I'm just going to put some spots on it all the way around. And now I'll put the grill on first, and it'll actually come through the grill. So we won't have to put on any additional. Push on it enough so that it comes through, and it's coming through everywhere. We'll clean the laminate up. What you'll probably want to do is put something on top of it. Put the template. Not like it. That's not heavy enough. That'll do. Nice. Sets in 10 minutes, cures in 24 hours. So in 10 minutes, we could put it together. Thank you for coming. Select Products. Video number 3, High-Tech Fiberglass, Part 2, Introduction to Vinyl Wrapping. What do you think?